There's a secret most people overlook, and it happens in the final minutes before you fall asleep. It's in that moment, when your body relaxes and your mind begins to slow down, that your reality is programmed. While many drift off replaying their fears, frustrations, and lack, manifestation masters do quite the opposite. They use that instant to step into a new identity. They don't ask. They don't wait. They become. Neville Goddard taught that the way you sleep determines who you will be when you wake, and consequently, the world you will see. If you keep falling asleep as someone who doubts, who feels lack, who waits, then that is what you'll continue to experience. But if tonight you choose to sleep as someone who already has everything, the game changes, reality changes, life changes. Write in the comments, "I am the new me," and declare the start of your new reality. For decades, few names have resonated as deeply in the realms of mind and manifestation as Neville Goddard's. While many taught about positive thinking or superficial desires, Neville cut straight to the point. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. And the most powerful moment to define who you are happens in the subtle transitions of consciousness, especially in the moments just before sleep. This idea didn't arise from mystical guesswork. It springs from a deep understanding of how the subconscious mind functions. Jacobo Grinberg, renowned neuroscientist and consciousness researcher, also scientifically proved that reality is shaped by invisible inner structures, mental fields that edit, filter, and project what you experience in the external world. Both, each in their own language, pointed to the same truth. Reality isn't fixed, but responsive to the identity you hold within. And it's during sleep that this identity is most vulnerable to transformation. If you learn to fall asleep as someone who is already prosperous, confident, and fulfilled, your mind will have no choice but to accept that as truth. And when it does, reality bends. Few people grasp the power of those last minutes before sleep. Most treat slumber merely as physical rest, a pause between one day and the next. But the truth is that this moment is a reprogramming portal, a gateway between conscious and subconscious, where everything you think, feel, and believe becomes a direct command to reality. This intermediate state is known as the hypnagogic state. It's when the body relaxes deeply, logical reasoning dissolves, and the subconscious takes over. It's the same state a child lives in during their first years, when everything is absorbed without filter. According to neuroscience, it's when the brain operates in theta waves, which more readily absorb patterns and impressions. And according to Jacobo Grinberg, it's there that the neuronal field opens to receive new configurations of reality. Neville Goddard was precise. Sleep in the state of fulfilled desire. He meant this not as a metaphor, but as a literal instruction. What you feel in that moment when sleep arrives is the seed of what will bloom in your life in the days to come. If you drift off in peace, feeling whole, confident, and grateful, your mind takes that as absolute truth and begins reorganizing your perception and experiences to reflect that state. On the other hand, if you fall asleep feeling fear, tension, frustration, or anxious longing, you send your subconscious a command of scarcity and lack. It understands, "This is my identity," and then recreates day after day circumstances that validate exactly that. Repeating this cycle is what keeps so many people trapped in realities that seem unchangeable, not for lack of effort, but because of misdirected programming at the brain's most vulnerable moment. Grinberg explained that reality's structure isn't solid, but malleable, and the mind doesn't merely interpret the world, it projects it. This means the way you sleep is how your mind is programmed to edit the reality around you. It's like handing the universe a script which it faithfully follows behind the scenes while you sleep. Most people waste this power. They fall asleep replaying problems, harboring resentments, or fearing the future. And the obedient universe reflects exactly that. But you aren't here to repeat patterns. You're here to learn to use that moment as the activation point for your new identity. And it all begins with one simple shift: becoming aware of how you feel before you drift off. There is an invisible pattern that keeps millions stuck in the same life, even when they think they're seeking transformation. This pattern isn't loud or obvious. In fact, it's silent, discreet, and devastating for that very reason. It lies in how you end your days, and above all, how you fall asleep. The mistake is replaying night after night the same emotional states you spent the day trying to overcome. You spend hours affirming that you want abundance, love, peace, transformation. But when night comes, you lie down with a mind full of demands, fear of the future, negative memories, resentments, or the feeling that you're still far from everything you desire. And that is precisely what you hand over to your subconscious before sleep. That moment is not neutral. It doesn't go unnoticed. On the contrary, the emotional state you're in when sleep comes is absorbed by your subconscious as absolute truth. And that mind, which governs up to 95% of your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors, acts the next day to maintain coherence with that feeling. This means if you fall asleep as someone frustrated, insecure, or needy, you'll wake with a mind programmed to repeat those same patterns. And the worst part? You'll believe that this is reality. Neville Goddard called this sleeping as the old man. The old you, the version of yourself that still carries doubts, traumas, scarcity, low self-esteem, and fear of not making it. And even if you consciously seek change, if you fall asleep as that old version, it's that you will resurrect at dawn. You wake the same, think the same, feel the same, and get the same results. Jacobo Grinberg explained that reality is a projection of your mental field. If that field is tainted by the emotions and beliefs of the old you, the world around you will keep reflecting those limitations. And it doesn't matter how much you want something different. If your field doesn't change, the projection won't either. The biggest mistake is believing deep change happens only during the day when you're awake, affirming and visualizing. But the truth is that the most powerful reprogramming happens when you're no longer rationally active, when the body relaxes and the subconscious takes charge. And if you're not conscious in that moment, you're unconsciously reinforcing the same identity you so desperately want to shed. The cycle continues, not because change is hard, but because you replay the same emotional state before sleep. And that is the most neglected point by anyone trying to manifest something new. There is a truth few dare to face. You're not trapped in your reality, you're trapped in your identity. And that identity is upheld night after night by a character you've learned to play so well that you now mistake it for who you really are. Neville Goddard called that character the old man, and as long as he lives inside you, no manifestation will hold. The old you is familiar. He knows how you think, how you react, what you fear. He carries the phrases you heard since childhood. This is too hard. You're not good enough. You weren't born for this. He shows up in delayed decisions, ready-made excuses, the self-sabotage you don't even notice anymore. He doesn't need to be an obvious villain. He can be subtle yet ruthless. He is the sum of memories, traumas, habits, and beliefs crystallized over years. And you keep reliving him every time you fall asleep with the same old emotions. And here's the detail Neville made clear. Transformation doesn't come from trying to fix the old you. It comes from deciding to let him die. That may sound harsh, but it's liberating. You don't need to understand every trauma, forgive every person, or resolve everything before you change. You just need to decide, with unwavering resolve, who you will no longer be. That decision isn't intellectual, it must be felt. You need to look within and ask yourself honestly, who is the character you've been playing to survive? Is he the one who always feels left out, the one who believes something is always missing, the one waiting to be validated by someone, the one who doubts no matter how hard he tries? Name that old you, see him, and say clearly, I am no longer that version. My Jacobo Grinberg taught that consciousness is the true creator of reality, and that the mental field reconfigures according to the identity we choose to uphold. This means that by releasing the old you, you're not simply leaving a past behind. You're clearing space in your field for a new vibrational configuration to take effect. But beware, that old you death doesn't happen on its own. It demands intention, repetition, and presence. And the first step is being ruthlessly honest. Who have you been before sleep? If you still fall asleep as the old you, laden with resentments, fears, and doubts, then that is who is reborn the next day. But if today you decide that version will no longer awaken, then something new has already begun to emerge. True transformation doesn't occur when you desire something new, but when you decide to be someone new. Wanting is easy. Everyone wants more money, more love, more freedom, but to claim intimately and non-negotiably a new identity, that's for those truly ready to change. And the most powerful moment for that choice is before sleep. After acknowledging and abandoning the old you, it's time to make room for the birth of the new me. This new you isn't a fantasy or an unreachable ideal. He already exists within you. He's always existed, just buried under layers of fear, doubt, and survival. And now, as you silence the world's noise and prepare to sleep, that version can finally surface. But how do you truly assume this new you, not just mentally, but emotionally? The answer lies in your feelings. Neville Goddard taught that you must assume the feeling of fulfilled desire because the subconscious doesn't respond to words but to sensations. It's no use saying, I am rich, I am loved, I am free, if inside you still feel anxious, constricted, waiting for something to change. The secret is to live the feeling before its evidence, and that requires emotional courage. It means lying down with the posture, breathing rhythm, and tranquility of someone who has already won, who already has, who already is. The new you isn't a future goal. He's a presence now. So before sleep, close your eyes and ask yourself, if everything were already resolved, how would I be breathing right now? If I already had everything I desire, how would my body be resting in bed? Feel the difference. Your chest opens. Your jaw relaxes. You sink into the mattress with quiet confidence. You're not reaching for anything. You're simply resting in what already is. If it's hard at first, don't think in phrases. Think in sensations. Don't say, I am prosperous. Ask, how does prosperity feel in my body? Don't say, I am loved. Ask, what is it like to feel deeply chosen? Don't say, I am free. Ask, what is it like to live without needing to justify myself? This is the language of the subconscious, emotion, vibration, presence. By repeating this practice every night, you begin training your vibrational field. And the universe, which responds to who you are, not to what you say, begins mirroring this new identity through opportunities, encounters, and seemingly magical changes. But it's not magic, it's law. Many people manage to access the new state before sleep. They feel peace, visualize a new reality, breathe deeply. Yet soon after, they make the mistake that destroys everything. They pick up their phone, review problems, think of the next day's tasks, or worry about what hasn't changed. And just like that, the new state dissolves. The old you returns, and the chance to reprogram the mind that night is wasted. Understand? How you cross the threshold between wakefulness and sleep determines which identity your subconscious will record. That final moment when you're about to drift off isn't merely a physical transition, it's a command handoff. Whatever you feel becomes the new reference point for your deep mind. That means you must safeguard the state you've created with your full focus and presence. Neville Goddard was clear. Sleep in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. He didn't say think about it lightly or suggest a casual meditation. He spoke of total surrender, of falling asleep as someone who already possesses what they desire and no longer needs to seek, only rest. Imagine this. You've just accessed a new you. You feel confidence, wholeness, certainty. Now your only mission is not to let go of that state until sleep carries you away. This is where many self-sabotage without realizing it. They release the new state out of distraction, anxiety, or not understanding how crucial it is to maintain the vibration until the last conscious instant. So here's the direct instruction. Once you assume your new identity, whether through visualization, feeling, or a simple breath of peace, stay there. Protect that state as if it were a sacred flame. No phones, no mental chatter, no just one more thought. The new you must be the last thing you feel before sleep descends. And yes, you can fall asleep with a gentle smile on your lips, not because something out there has changed, but because you've changed within. Because your body knows it's safe, because your mind has accepted it no longer must struggle, because your vibrational field has been adjusted, and from now on, reality begins to bend. This is the point of no return. The moment you choose never to return to the old version. When sleep comes and you're still vibrating as the new you, the subconscious accepts that version as truth, and the universe begins responding in synchronicity. Understanding the power of the instant before sleep is step one. Feeling the force of assuming a new identity in that moment is step two. But what really transforms lives is step three, making this practice an unshakable habit. A single night of deep reprogramming won't change everything forever. The subconscious doesn't bend to isolated events. It reshapes through consistent emotional repetition. That's why, if you truly want to see your reality transform, you must commit to consecutive nights of your mind, knowing beyond any doubt that a new version of you is taking charge. For 7 nights in a row, you will fall asleep as that new identity. No distractions, notifications, or worries. When you lie down, you will bring to bed a clear decision about who you choose to be. In the silent environment and relaxed body, you will close your eyes with intention, as one entering an inner sanctuary. The rational mind will begin to quiet, and that's when you access the feeling of your new self. It's not about thinking, it's about feeling. It's about letting the vibration of abundance, love, or freedom flow through your body as if it already belongs to you. Even if on some nights the feeling isn't strong, you keep going. Because it's not the intensity of a single moment that reprograms your system. It's daily emotional consistency that rewrites your identity. And as you sleep in that new state each night, your subconscious records, accepts, and quietly starts reorganizing the structure of reality around you. Over the days, subtle signs begin to emerge. Small coincidences, shifts in perception, new ideas, greater confidence. All these are evidence that the old you is losing hold and the new you is taking root. And the more you insist on this new pattern, the more natural it becomes. You stop trying to manifest and simply live as someone who already has. Reality then cannot resist, it responds. This is the power of conscious repetition. Science confirms it, and experience proves it. The mind changes when you act as someone who has already changed. Knowing isn't enough. You must live it. Every night, 7 days. An unbreakable commitment to who you've chosen to be. Now that you know the power of the moment before sleep, the choice is yours. You can continue ending your days as you always have, carrying the same doubts, the same weight, the same emotions that only reinforce what you want to change. Or you can choose something completely different. You can sleep as the new you. You can abandon the character that held you captive for so long and fall asleep as someone who already is everything you've ever sought. Not because magic will happen overnight, but because by changing your internal vibration, reality will have no choice but to reorganize. Make this a commitment to yourself. Try it for 7 nights, not with half your focus, but with full presence. Lie down in peace, feel what you desire as if it is already real, and sleep in that state. And if you truly do this, with truth, with consistency, you will not wake the same. Your perception changes, your decisions change, the world changes. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving content that reminds you who you really are. And in the comments write, "I sleep as one who already is," and mark that turning point. Transformation has already begun. Now don't stop halfway.